Hello everyone and welcome to this video. This is the third video of the series of videos that I prepared for you for clean architecture. If you haven't seen my previous videos, pause this video right now, start watching them, and then come back to this video and play it again, because it is a tutorial to teach you how to use clean architecture in your project. In the previous video, we covered the entity or domain layer, and now it is time to jump to the application layer. As I told you, the domain is the heart of the application, and this application layer is the layer that you apply all your business logics. But before jumping to the code, let me show you how you can follow the code that I create for this course. If you go to my GitHub account that I pasted the link here down in the description, you can find one folder for each session. At the end of each session, I'm going to push my code to the Git repository. And the best way of learning clean architecture is to try to write the code that I'm creating and writing in the videos first. And you can look at these projects that I put in the GitHub repository as a reference. If you face some errors, first check these projects on GitHub, and if you couldn't solve the issue, just write it down in the comments. I will try to help you to solve the issue. Okay, back to the code. This is the code that we had. We had the librarian.domain, and now it is time to create the application. And as I mentioned, application is the place that you put all your business logics there. We are going to follow the command query pattern. Command query pattern and CQRS are two different things, but mostly people use them interchangeably. If you don't know what is CQRS, please pause the video right now. I created one video about CQRS and I explained why we need CQRS and what is the benefit of using CQRS. Then just pause this video. If you haven't seen that, go watch it and come back to this video. For this video, I'm going to create some features. A feature is the list of the actions that end user can do on the model. As an example, we have a member, and for a member, end user can add a member, delete a member, update a member, and so on. We are not just limited to the CRUD operations for creating features, but we will start with CRUD operations, and after that, we will continue it with some other behaviors and functionality. And we are going to create a lot of folders here. Then it is better to config the shortcut that I showed you in the previous video about how to create folders using the shortcut, because it will going to be time taking. In the librarian application, I'm going to create one folder for features. And then I need to have two different folders, one for commands and one for queries. I put all actions related to manipulating data in the database in commands, and all businesses relating to get data from database in queries. Let's start with commands. I need a folder for create members. I need another folder for update members, and another one for deleting members. These are the commands. These are the commands that I'm going to use for now. And for query, I need to have one folder for get all members and another one for getting one member detail. Let's create it. One for get all members and another for get members details. As you can see here inside the project file, csproj file, because there is no C# file in any of these folders, it is going to add them as a folder in the item group. But as soon as I create one file in each of them, they will be disappeared from this project CS file. Let's save it and start with my create member. For creating a member, because I'm following the command query pattern, I need to have one request and one request handler. The request is the data which is carrying along the property or data that you want to save inside the database. And the request is a flag which shows our framework which handler should be executed for that. For using the request and request handler and for mapping them, we are using Mediator pattern. I created one video about Mediator pattern and Mediator component. I will put the link here on top right side of the page. Please, if you are not familiar with Mediator, pause this video right now, watch it, and then come back to this video. Let's start with creating the request. The naming convention is to follow the folder name. The folder name is create member. Then I need to have a create member request file. This is the request. When I add something here, if I go back to librarian, you will see that the create folder is not here anymore because the CSproj file will understand that this is a folder that you are going to use and it is going to remove it from this list. Okay, enough with it. And let's change it. It should be public. And let's get rid of all unnecessary usings. It should implement iRequest. iRequest is a flag for Mediator component to realize that it is a request. And Mediator is going to map this request and request handler together. Then I need to install Mediator right now. Let's start by installing the Mediator package. Go to the NuGet packages and search for Mediator. I can install it easily. If I go back to my application, you will see that I have this item group for referencing a package with name Mediator with this version. But you are using clean architecture to have a guardrail about how to place files and folders and projects in a way which is maintainable, manageable, and testable. Imagine that you are using Mediator in several projects, and for some reasons, maybe a vulnerability in the package, you want to update all of them. All of them, for example, from version 12.2 to version 12.3. If you use this approach of referencing the dependencies into the projects, you need to go to all projects one by one and update the version. But it is not what we want. Visual Studio lets you to create one directory.package.properties file in the root of the solution, and it is going to read the version related each packages from that file, which means that you can just change the version in one place and it is going to affect all other dependencies that you installed in all the projects that you have in that solution. I need to add one item to the solution itself. Let's call it directory.packages.properties. Let's save it, but how to fill it? What should I write here? Honestly, I'm not sure if we have any way to do it more easily inside my application or not, but the way that I usually use is to go to the CSproj file, one CSproj file that I installed one package in it, copy everything, and paste it inside the file. Now I need to remove all item groups except the one which I have the package in it. I need to remove the SDK. Visual Studio doesn't format this file for me. Then I need to close it and open it again. Okay, now it is better. And all property groups should be deleted. Now I need to make some changes. As an example, here I have a project group and item group. This item group, instead of using package reference, I need to use package version. It tells the compiler that when you are going to use mediate R component, use version 12 for everything. And I need to go back to my librarian.application and just remove the version from here. Let's save it. Let's go back here, and inside the property group, I need to add another property. This property is manage package versions centrally. It is exactly what we want. We want to manage the version for all the package in one central file. And let's save it. Just be aware. If you are using this file directory.package.properties, you cannot specify the version for any of your components and dependencies in your CSproj files anymore. Then look for all the projects that you have in this solution, and if you are using a package, just remove the version in front of the package and add that package version, something like that, to your directory.package properties. Okay, good. Now that I have Mediator installed here, let's call it Mediator, and go back to my create member request. I need to inherit from iRequest, and this iRequest is an interface inside the Mediator namespace. Visual Studio is going to add this Mediator R using Mediator R for me, and you need to specify the return value for this command as a type for iRequest. What data should I have here? Because this command is going to get called by my API and pass all data that we want to use for creating a member. It is better to go to the domain project, go to the members, and just copy everything from here and paste them here. Fine. Now I have a request. It is time to create the request handler file. Then I'm going to create an item inside the create member folder. Let's call it create member request handler. The naming convention is the key. We are using clean architecture as a guardrail. I'm going to repeat this sentence several times during this series because the only benefit that we can achieve out of the clean architecture is maintainability, testability, and modularity. And this naming conventions, folder structure, and application structure is the key to achieve that. Let's save it and make it public. Now I need to inherit from iRequest handler. It is an interface in Mediator, and I need to specify the request name. My request is create member request, and as you can see, I'm just copying and pasting. Naming convention help you with that and prevent you from having misspells. And the response, as I mentioned here, the response type is an int. Then let's type it here, and now it is time to implement the interface. For the interface, I will have public task int, because int is my return value, handle, and it passes the request from the request type that I have and a cancellation token to this method. Mostly for adding something to my project, I need to have 4 different steps. First, I need to validate the incoming data. Each layer is responsible for validating the data that it is receiving. Then API should validate it, the application layer should validate it, and in the repository and in the database, you should validate it again. We cannot use this request and send it to the repositories. We need to convert it to a member that I have inside my domain. Then the next step is converting to the domain entity. And after that, we need to add it to the database. And finally, I need to return the value to the API or to who is calling this method. I guess this create member request handler class is complete. Just let me create one constructor for it because we are going to use it and need it for dependency injection and get rid of all the unnecessary usings that I have here. Let's wrap up everything that I explained today. I talked about how to use Mediator, command query pattern, and CQRS. And I talked about how to centrally manage the versions for each of the project dependencies. In the next video, we are going to complete this handler by validating data, storing it inside the database, and do this conversion more easily. The challenge for you until the next video is that find all the dependencies that you have in other projects, open all the CS proj files, and if there is a dependency with a version in it, just remove the version and make this solution a buildable solution. Because if you have one package with version in the CS proj file, when you try to build the application, it will fail. If you like this video, do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And by hitting the bell, you will get notified every time that I upload the next video about this series or some other videos that I'm going to upload weekly. Then enjoy your life as a developer and keep practicing.